when we have Gutierrez in the house, so we don't really need anyone else to talk about DC. Yeah, just to sort of segue the conversation, Delhi, like Sunrisers, tried 23 players and only Warner, Akshar, and Kuldeep were the players who played all games. I mean, spinners were economical. They did not take a lot of wickets, but batting was the real issue. They have the lowest strike rate against both pace and spin. They have the lowest average against pace and the second lowest average against spin. So yeah, with those numbers or broad numbers out of the way, over to you, Gurpreet, to talk about the nitty gritties of the horrible season that they had.
Yeah, so like you mentioned about the worst batting numbers, I mean they have an average of less than 20 per wicket. That's terrible. And another thing that shocked me when I was looking at a few numbers is that their highest wicket taker this season is Mitchell Marsh. That sums up so much about their bowling issues, right? Mitchell Marsh, who's just bowled 20 overs in the season, he's only played 8 games, should not be your highest wicket taker. So yeah, it's been a terrible season, and they've been even in the last 5 overs they've had an average of 13 and a strike rate of 128.93. Essentially, that means that they were not even scoring 40 runs in the last 5 overs. That is how bad they were with the bat. Like they were terrible. And yes, spinners were had the best economy, but both Akshar and Kuldeep had a strike rate of more than 24, which means that they were not your guaranteed wicket takers
Yeah.
in a game. So
Hmm.
they were averaging less than 1 wicket per game. And when you are playing at when you like Firosha Kotla, that is problematic. Player availability also hurt them a little bit because Marsh wasn't there for 2 games. Then he did not play the last 2 games, and he got ill in one of the games. So there's that. But overall, if you look at it, the way their auction went, they were set up to fail. So them ending ninth doesn't surprise me. These numbers are there. I have a few other numbers which I have taken a note of. Apart from they were also the second worst bowling attack at the death, conceded. You know the at the second highest economy. No one apart from David Warner scored more than 300 runs. So so many things just did not click for them. And for me, the biggest disappointment was Mitchell Marsh's batting because I thought that he would be able to score some runs, but he also, I mean, in his first 4 games, he had scored a total of 9 runs. And eventually he finished with an average of 14. You look at Prithvi Shaw's average, 13.25. Phil Salt did play a couple of impactful knocks. So, yeah, I mean, the only silver lining that we can talk about is that maybe this will force the owners to change the management, which is desperately required. That could be the silver lining. And then Mitchell Marsh's bowling, because Mitchell Marsh bowling that many overs is something that I don't think anyone would have foreseen given his injury issues. But given how he bowled and with control, more or less, it would also make the Australian management quite happy because he's going to be a starter in the World Cup later this year. So if he can come and pitch in with those 3-4 overs on dry pitches, um, it would really help the Australian team. But yeah, nothing really to write home about. Maybe you can, I mean, Warner's batting, but Warner's was also a shadow of himself, you felt. And you could talk about Akshar's batting, but we had already seen that coming. Uh, but yeah, the other thing that is you'd you'd be happy looking at how Kuldeep was able to bowl defensively because Kuldeep's been such a bowler that if he's not been able to take wickets, he's also conceded a lot of runs. And to Delhi's credit, they also had a few close wins this time, which you felt when teams are losing, like how Sunrisers were losing. Sunrisers hardly won a close game. Delhi, to their credit, was still
Hmm.
able to win 3 close games: one versus Gujarat, one versus Sunrisers at Hyderabad, then one versus Punjab. So these things, tell you that at least there were few things happening right. They were still willing to put in that fight, which at times you felt was not the case with Sunrisers. So Mm, yeah, the silver lining are these things. And if we are talking of potential releases, I have a list of 7-8 players who I really don't see in the team next year because I really feel that they can't really add a
Yeah.
lot of value. I mean, Praveen Dubey is one, Manish Pandey, Sarfaraz Khan, Priyam Garg. Like if I'm talking about these three Indian batters, uh, not their fault either completely because they were out batting out of position. So there are these four. Then I think one out of Mustafizur or Ngidi will be released. I'd actually be looking to keep someone like Ngidi instead of Mustafizur, because I think if you really need someone who could bowl slower balls into the pitch in Delhi, you could look at Sakaria's development and then take that call. And Riley Rousseau, again, I don't think you can carry a player like him, especially when when you're looking to retain someone like Mitchell Marsh, and there's David Warner itself. So Riley Rousseau goes out for me. Abhishek Porel, Pant comes back hopefully next season, so Abhishek Porel goes out. Nagarkoti, you have five Indian bowlers before this, and Nagarkoti did not play a game. You did not know how to utilize Chetan Sakaria either, so Nagarkoti goes out. Uh, Deepal Patel, Lalit Yadav. I mean, Delhi really need to look at an off spinner who can guarantee you 4 overs. At this point of time, Lalit Yadav does not guarantee you 4 overs, and he doesn't really make much of an impact either with the bat for you to carry that player. And with the impact player rule coming in, you need to be at least good in one department, or else it's very difficult to now carry bits and pieces players, because the opposition will have batting options till number 8, that they can hurt you if you are bowling a part timer. So, 7 8 players easily, because Ripple Patel also is not being used properly. We don't even know, he has a reputation of being a spin hitter, but even in domestic cricket he doesn't have great numbers. So there's that. I'm I'm still okay with keeping someone like an Aman Khan and Vicky Oswal, because I feel Vicky Oswal has great potential, and he's one player that you can develop. Similarly for Yash Dhul, I am not sure what Delhi are going to do with Prithvi Shaw, because right now Prithvi Shaw's IPL average is I think less than 24, and it's across a huge sample space. And last 3 seasons he's not been able to play 14 games for Delhi, whether it be form, fitness, or whatever. So if you do you want to, I mean, it's going to be a very tough call whether you want to retain him or not retain him, because you retained him ahead of the mega auction, because clearly 2021 season he had done well, 450 plus runs at an average of 32, strike rate of 159, but then nothing after that. And Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy also, he's scoring runs against weak sides. He's not putting in those consistent performances that you want from him. So the another idea that they could look at is probably open with Yash Dhur. So there's that. But it's going to be a tough, if they do retain Prithvi Shaw and Prithvi Shaw then doesn't do anything, then it's not only going to hurt the team, it's also going to hurt him, because uh, if you have consistent seasons of underwhelming performance in the IPL, right, it makes it very difficult for you to also make it to the next level, because and that is across formats. You can talk about not mixing formats or mixing formats, but the truth is that selectors, everyone does look at IPL far more closely than what they would look at other domestic tournaments. So Delhi really need to look at this case, that what they want to do with Prithvi Shaw, and hope that in the next auction they are able to find a backup wicketkeeper who's good, and can bat, probably a good off spinner, and yeah, and good Indian middle order batters, not someone who they have to
Yeah,
end this obsession with finding batters who can bat in the top three only.
yeah. So just to interrupt that Kurkirat monologue, I'm here. I'm listening to him, and I just feel that it's almost impossible to do anything with Delhi because there is even a single aspect that Gurkirat has said that doesn't need a change, and obviously neither there will be so many players nor other team will be foolish enough to allow Delhi to do it. So based on his assessment, they look royally screwed at the moment. I just want to touch upon a few minor pointers here. One is if you go back to the chart, the difference between the number of sixes that they hit versus the number of sixes hit against them is 47. That is three times more than the second worst side, which just shows that how outdated Delhi are in terms of their batting. Because it is clearly the case of their batters not hitting sixes. Because if you recall, there were quite a few games where their batting lineup was unwatchable. I mean, if only there is a professional interest, I did not see any reason for having to put myself to the pain of watching their batting lineup to go about their job. Second thing is about potential releases, and let's just talk about the main releases here, which are actually going to affect their budget because releasing someone who's costing 20 lakhs or 50 lakhs won't really, apart from making a slot available, won't really give them the bucks that they need to buy bigger players. So my question is around Chetan Sakaria Gurpreet. He's costing 4.2 crores and ended up playing only two games. So if I mean that's quite a lot of money to be paid to a player who they don't really see as a potential starter. Mustafizur definitely 2 crores and also an overseas spot because they don't have any slot left. Uh, so I want your thoughts about Sakaria, and also, I mean, you said that you presented scenarios on them releasing Shaw and not releasing Shaw. What is your take? Should they release him? Should they retain him? And stick to this because I have a few more questions to ask you specifically.
At present, I'm more inclined to release him unless he has a great SMAT, because uh, very difficult
You're
to,
talking about Shaw.
yeah, very difficult to have a player who's not even, guaranteeing you 14 games due to fitness reasons. Forget form. And he's had a
Hmm.
like he's always under the news or something, that there are some discipline issues and everything else. For a team that is struggling with other issues, you don't want such issues which are off the field, because then they start affecting your on-field performance as well. So for me, at this point of time, I'm more than tempted to release Prithvi Shaw and try and make space
And
for
what
a
about Sakaria?
Sakaria. I'm fine. I mean, if it's that's not a big deal for me, because if you want, then you should, because even Mukesh Kumar has costed them 5.5 crores, and for me, both these
Hmm.
bowlers, you they are very expensive for the number of games that they are playing and the performance that they are giving. So one
Hmm.
could they could even, but I feel that they still keep Mukesh Kumar because you don't know how much is Ishant Sharma going to play, and he provides that variety. So yeah, you could release Chetan Sakaria. I don't mind, but I think they need to let go of Mustafizur and keep Ngidi, because Ngidi has pace, and I feel in recent times he's been better than Mustafizur.
Yeah, talking about Ishant Sharma actually took as many wickets as Nokia, but with a better economy. I don't know if it's a silver lining or not. But yeah, I mean, you spoke about Mitchell Marsh and he was the leading wicket taker, and actually, Mitchell Marsh single-handedly ensured that Delhi are not at the bottom of the table of both batting numbers and bowling numbers. But I mean, to be really honest, if Mitchell Marsh is your main bowler, that just goes to show, right, that there are some severe issues with the team. That's one. Second is about Aman Khan. So we've often seen teams identify a player, back him, and more often than not, at least for the better teams, those players end up delivering at least by the end of the season. But Aman Khan was given 11 games. He averages 13.8 and a strike rate of 108.9. So neither here nor there. So do you think that, I mean, Aman Khan is another story of a big ass failure for this management in terms of even player development, because you sort of did not put your money on the right horse, or if he was the right horse, he was not given enough a, a role where he could succeed in maybe.
So here's the thing. I really don't know if a younger batter who's been, or if a young batter who's batting so much out of position, if he should really be judged on how he's gone with Delhi this season. Because Aman Khan, if you look at it, he was batting coming into bat at number 7, number 8, and so many times when the game was done, and in that Gujarat game, he showed good application. So there is something right with him. I do feel that if you've traded him, and I don't think he costed Delhi much, so you can look to take a punt on him.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
just
see,
feel,
I'm not talking about releasing him. I just sort
yeah,
of feel that is Aman Khan the exemplifier of how clueless his management is? Because you have given 11
100%,
games to a player who
100%.
bats at 7-8 and doesn't ball. That means you are absolutely clueless and trying to put together an 11 somehow so that the season just gets by and you go back and just come back next season when your captain is available.
100%. That is the case for sure, that the management is clueless, because you've Aman Khan, has he's still got 11 games in this one season. You have players like Reepal Patel, and Reepal Patel, who's not got 11 games across 3 seasons. So that is something that you look at Rovman Powell also this season. I think he played only 3 games, and
Hmm.
one of them he was just set up for failure. Last season, because he has spoken about Pant backing him, he did deliver 3 or 4 good knocks. So this management is clueless. That is not a secret, which is why I said that the silver lining could be that after this kind of a season, that the management would change, and hopefully then it can turn around the fortunes. Because yeah, I don't know. I don't think if they can go lower than what they did this season. They managed the wins, but like you said, they were unwatchable. They were literally unwatchable.
Yeah.
Barring that one game where they defeated RCB at Kotla, there was not even one game which even I felt like watching. To be very honest,
So the first potential release that he wants is Ponting.
100%. That I wanted two
Yeah,
years ago.
Pagin. Yeah.